So okay, we have another question as shown here. Given the purchase relationship and the multi-way relationship we learned before, right? It denotes a person buys a product from a store. Then we have a question: how can borrow a person purchase this product from a store on some dates? How can we do this? So in other words, we need to have some attributes denotes the date, right? Let me copy the attribute here. It is the date. It is easy, we can borrow it as an attribute. Then the question will be, how can we attach this attribute to the diagram we show here? Shall we add this date as attribute to the product, or to the store, or to a person? If we add the date as attribute to the product, it means the person buys the product from a store on a specific date. However, this date is the attribute of the product. Is it true or not? Maybe it is not the case. It's not an attribute of the product. Should we add this one as attribute to the store? Maybe it is not neither, right? Because it doesn't denote the attribute of the store, or it is the attribute of the person. It is not neither, right? Actually, this date is a attribute of this action. I mean, the person purchased this product from a store on a specific date. It should be attribute of this purchase, this action, or this relationship, right? We use this example to show you that besides the regular attributes we can attach to the entities, we can also attach the attributes to the relationships as well. For example, as shown here, a person buys a product from a store on a specific date. We can denote this date as an attribute to the purchase, this multi-way relationship. Okay, so for the multi-way relationship we showed before, right? We can draw the diagram, something like this I was showed before for the purchase relationship among the person and the store and the product, right? So we can draw a diagram like this. However, for the real world, when we do the implementation of such relationship with database systems, actually the multi-way relationship will be very hard to implement, because everything we represent will be into some tables. And normally we prefer the binary relationships. Also, we attach the attributes to the relationships. We can do so, definitely. However, it also has some problems because it will mess the relationships with the entities for many of the users as well as our students. So therefore, a common way, if we want to model some multi-way relationships, will be we can convert them into some binary relationships instead. The question will be, how can we do the conversion? The conversion is also very simple. So given a multi-way relationship as shown here, we have three entities. We keep all the three entities as shown here. However, for the multi-way relationship, we will replace it with a new entity. Before we name this one as purchase as a relationship, however, we create a new entity, purchase, for it as an entity, right? And for the attributes attached to the relationship, it will become an attribute to the purchase entity as shown here. As to the lines we showed before, right, for the relationship, and we replace them with some new binary relationships as shown here. We have three new binary relationships connecting to the purchase with product, between the purchase and store, and purchase of the person. Then you can give any names for this relationship, which is easy to understand for you. Now here we say this relationship denotes the product of the purchase. This one denotes the store of the purchase. This one denotes the buyer of the purchase. Then we need to pay attention to the constraints on a new relationship. Before we say that we don't have any arrow or directions to add to these lines. However, once we create a new purchase entity as shown here and three new relationships, then we need to ask ourselves, for this new relationship, do we need to add any arrows to the sides or not? For this case, after we do the conversion, the answer is yes. We have to add the arrows pointing to the product, pointing to the store, pointing to the person. You may ask why? So generally, you can understand the physical meaning for the relationships by following our sentence we showed before, right? Given a purchase, we can always identify one single product, which is the product of the purchase, right? In other words, we have to add one arrow pointing to the product. It is similar for store. We can always identify one single store, which happens, right? Which is the store of this purchase, as well as given a purchase, we can always find one single person who is the buyer of the purchase. In other words, pay attention here. We have three arrows pointing to this product, store, and the person. This is very important. So please allow me to remind you again, whenever you draw the relationship, please ask yourself, do we need to add any arrows to either sides of the relationship, and in which side we need to add the arrows? This is very important. So please don't forget these arrows, these constraints.